Hello everyone, this is Shane Norman with Graco, and today I'm going to show you how to change the hose on your XDX hose reel. Now this procedure will require you to dismount the hose reel from its mounting location. So before you do that, make sure you follow the pressure relief procedure found in your manual. Then dismount your hose reel and clamp it to our workbench using a couple C-clamps. The tools we need today are a small C-clamp, a number 2 Phillips, a couple medium-sized crescent wrenches, a 1/2-inch socket and ratchet, and an 1.5-inch socket and breaker bar. The first step in the process is to pull all of the hose out from the reel. Then stop with the hose extended and the hose reel stopped on its ratchet. Next, we are going to add a C-clamp to the spool to prevent the spool from freely retracting if the reel was to disengage the ratchet. Now it's important to note that you need to put the C-clamp on the side of the spool opposite of the inlet of the reel. Now at this point, we are going to remove the side arm and pedestal that's on the same side as the inlet. To do that, we're first going to remove the 2 bolts up here, along with the 4 nuts that hold this half of the arm on the reel assembly. Set that portion of the arm assembly aside. And now we are going to remove the nut that attaches the swivel assembly to the pedestal. Followed by removing the 2 screws that hold the pedestal to the base of the reel. Now remove that portion of the pedestal and set that aside. Now we can take our 2 crescent wrenches and remove the hose from the reel swivel. Once the hose is disconnected, you can then fish it back through the reel and out of the arm guide. And now we are ready to remove the hose stop from the old hose. Now is a good time to take a measurement from the end of the hose to the hose stop. You can use that measurement to then place the hose stop on the new hose in the same exact location that you had it on the old hose. To remove the hose stop, we're going to loosen the 2 Phillips screws found in the body of the hose stop. Loosen them until there's enough gap to slide the hose stop over the old hose. Now with the new hose, make sure you mark that spot where you had the old hose stop and reinstall the hose stop on the new hose. Do that by simply tightening the Phillips screws until they bottom out on the hose stop. Once the Phillips screws are tight, make sure you tug on the hose stop to make sure it's not going to move. Now we're ready to install the new hose onto the reel. So insert the hose through the hose guide, around the spool, and up through the opening found in the center of the reel. Hand tighten the swivel fitting to the hose fitting. Now we'll go ahead and tighten the hose fitting to the swivel fitting using our 2 crescent wrenches. Tighten them firmly. And now we're ready to reinstall our pedestal and our arm. So we're going to start by installing the lower pedestal. You can start the 2 bolts that hold the pedestal to the frame. We'll use our 1/2-inch socket and ratchet to tighten those bolts. Okay, tighten firmly, both sides. And now you need to notice that there is a teardrop shape that's machined into the swivel shaft that mates with that same shape that's in the pedestal. So if they're not in this, if they are not aligned, you do not want to finish assembly because it will damage the reel. So now they're fitting properly, and we're going to reinstall the swivel nut. Tighten the swivel nut firmly, and now we can reinstall the other half of our arm support. Start by loosely threading on the 4 nuts that hold the arm in place, followed by the 2 bolts that hold the arm to the opposite side arm. Now that they're started by hand, we can tighten them up with our 1/2-inch socket and ratchet. Tighten the nuts firmly, and then tighten down the bolts. Tighten the bolts firmly. And now we are ready to remove the C-clamp from the spool. Then carefully disengage the ratchet on the spool and slowly retract the hose back onto the spool. And that's how you change the hose on your XDX hose reel.